Hi everyone. So in case you're wondering what's up with the change of scenery behind me, this is actually my sister's apartment. I've been trying to reach her for the past few weeks with no luck, so I decided to come over here and see what's up. Unfortunately, she's not at home at the moment. So while we wait for her, how about a movie review? So, space. There's a reason we call it the final frontier. It's a black void that spreads who knows how far. We've explored so much and at the same time so little. But what happens when space exploration goes from curiosity to necessity? That's the question today's movie, Interstellar, aims to find out. Welcome to Short and to the Point, where I review movies in 5 minutes or less, or your money back. Interstellar takes place sometime in the future. With rampant dust storms and a dwindling food supply, Earth will soon be unable to sustain human life. Enter our heroes Cooper and Amelia, played by Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway respectively. They are tasked with traveling through a wormhole that will transport them to another galaxy, where they must choose one of 3 worlds to serve as the new home for humanity. In addition to that, Amelia's father, played by Michael Caine, must solve an equation that will allow large space stations on Earth to make it past Earth's gravitational pull and to be able to evacuate the human population. However, if he cannot solve the equation, then our heroes must resort to Plan B. Fertilized eggs that are stored on board the NASA ship the Endurance that will allow humanity to restart on the new world, while those left on Earth will be left there to perish. Okay, let's get some of the negatives out of the way first. For example, the first act could have used some work. We are flimsily told that Cooper is a pilot through a hard-to-distinguish dream sequence and references to a crash he had been in. Said crash has no impact on the plot whatsoever, and is not even brought up anymore after Cooper takes off into space, even though that would have been the perfect time to have done so. How Cooper locates the secret NASA base is also a tad awkward. He discovers a message left for him after a dust storm, and once he realizes that it's a set of coordinates, he goes rushing off to see where they lead, even though he has no idea what he'll find, or if he'll even gain anything from doing so. The movie's use of sound also could have used some work. Now don't get me wrong, the soundtrack is indeed impressive and epic, but sometimes the soundtrack and the sound effects in general are so loud that they almost drown out the characters' voices. And in some instances, the soundtrack almost overwhelms the scene. Now despite my criticisms, I did like Interstellar's story. I applaud it for having a low-key end-of-the-world scenario, while still having a plot that was large in scale, but not so large that it loses sight of its themes. The instinct for survival and love. Matthew McConaughey did a good job representing those themes, as he looks like just the kind of person that you could count on to get the job done, while also having a vulnerable side, courtesy of his love for his daughter Murphy, played by a likably precocious Mackenzie Foy. The same can also be said for Anne Hathaway, who looked like she was going to be the stoic member of the team, but is shown to have a soft heart. That also goes for Jessica Chastain, but I unfortunately can't say anything about her because of spoilers. She does give a good performance, however. Another plus for Interstellar is its special effects. These space shots are an impressive sight to behold, such as when the Endurance travels past Saturn and we see just how huge the planet is. And while the other planets are rather simple in design, they still have some creative things done with them visually, such as giant tidal waves. Now that is the force of nature. I also applaud the film for how it depicts space travel. We might be in the future, but we haven't gone so far that we can just enter the wormhole's coordinates, engage warp factor 5, and make the journey in less than 12 parsecs. Our heroes have to make the journey the old-fashioned way, meaning that Cooper must leave his family behind for an extended period of time. This gives the story an increased sense of urgency, as Cooper cannot afford to make any mistakes that will prolong his journey, or make his team use Plan B instead. Unfortunately, this also leads Interstellar to some rather forced moments of tension. I won't say much, but there's one moment towards the end of the movie that features rather redundant drama. Because the sequence has rather mediocre pacing, it comes across as longer than it really is. This happens more than once in the movie, and it feels like this scene and others are happening just so the movie can drain every last bit of acting talent out of the cast. Granted, the payoffs of the action scenes are kind of worth it, so I can let that go for the most part, and when the pacing is right, the action scenes can be quite thrilling. Overall, despite my criticisms, I did enjoy Interstellar. It has a good mixture of plot and special effects, but the acting is the true highlight. Heck, what would you expect from a bunch of Academy Award winners / nominees? Matthew McConaughey is strong when he needs to be, but when he turns on the waterworks, you are gonna feel bad for that guy. It has a reasonable amount of twists, heart-wrenching revelations, and the question about what one will do in the face of extinction is thought-provoking without beating the audience over the head with it. I'm going to give this film 7.5 Space Odysseys out of a possible 10, and I do recommend it for a theatrical viewing. This has been short and to the point, and I review movies in 5 minutes or less, or your money back. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to sit here and wait for my sister to hopefully come home. Maybe I'll watch a movie to pass the time. I will see you all next time. Bye.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.